Hey, looks like our great organizer Vicky's joining us. I'll mention something about Vicky in a minute. Oh, it looks like it's time. Let's go live. Just want to thank all our volunteers for joining us tonight and everyone else who wanted to check this out. Um, this originally was an art company in India called Like Minds. They wanted an article on leadership. So Nina, being my buddy, asked me. A lot of great people work for Meetup. I'm a habit of drinking a lot of water, so you notice me do that quite a bit. But just grateful for everybody who's showing up here tonight. Always like to start with a little gratitude, and really grateful for my volunteers. We've got a lot of amazing volunteers. Let's see, just started a group in Sarasota not too long ago with our organizer Scott. Scott's doing great. Scott's a great actor. We had a show off Broadway. Profit. They gave me this little guy when I went down to Sarasota to see him. Look up Lifeline Productions. Scott does a great show about mental illness, OCD, and being autistic and with ASD. Great organizers, East Michigan, Vicky and Becky. Man, if I had 100 Vicky and Beckys, I could change the world. So dedicated. Years doing events every week for us at International Friend Connection, in-person events. West Michigan, you got me a couple times a week. We got Professor M. We got Stephanie. A lot of people. My mind's blanking right now. And then we just started a new group in Japan, Fukuoka, Japan. Real good dude over there, a guy named Hiro. And he did his first event, had some people show up. It's a group for socially anxious, shy people in Japan, which he thought would be a good idea. That's who we like to serve, socially anxious and shy people, as well as neurodivergent people. But he said Japan, his local community really needs a group like that. And, I'll be at Schuler Brooks in Grand Rapids, Michigan tomorrow. So come out and join that. Yeah, I got a real great team. I got to do a team meeting because we're getting so many organizers all over the world. We've got XL running group in Portugal too for us in coordination with the Octopus Movement think tank. First, let's get going in the presentation. Don't want to waste too much of your time there. So this is called Mastering Community Events, a roadmap for engaging experiences that build lasting connections. You want to get in touch with me, go to davidgood.org. You can see a lot of the awards we've gotten, a lot of the TV interviews. We've been on I'll get to that in a minute. Introduce myself if you don't know who the heck I am. There we go. So who am I? Big event, had my software development career taken away from me by an injury from a car accident. That was about in 2015, beginning of 2016. I'm working on a talk about my whole life story. Every time I've had everything in my life taken away and how I've pivoted, because we're going through times of rapid change and people need tools so that they can pivot and adapt to all the big things that are happening. I'm an Ivy League speaker, have talked about leadership for Yale at their Cultural Autism Studies unit. I've been featured on all the big networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. Founded International Friend Connection with the first group, West Michigan Geeks, in 2014. That blew up to 50 groups all around the world, local and in person. And we did, during COVID, we did virtual meetings almost around the clock to provide support for people. That's how we earned recognition from President of the United States. I've earned recognition from President Biden. I was declared Point of Light by President George H.W.'s foundation. My buddy David Siegel, Meetup CEO, named me founding Meetup brand ambassador before they got sold there. And then Octopus Movement think tank in Amsterdam appointed me chief of global affairs. Look up more about the Octopus Movement, doing some great work, putting some real great nonlinear thinkers together. Nonlinear thinking is kind of out of the box thinking. They're looking for more out of the box thinkers to work on global issues. I mean, the people I meet in the Octopus Movement, like there's a dude, good buddy of mine. His brain can run circles around mine, and it's just so fascinating to talk to them. A lot of great people in there too, and I've also created something called the Friend Magnet Framework. Look for those classes because those are leadership. Communications is one of the biggest leadership tools. You want to be a leader, you have to learn to communicate. You have to learn to communicate across cultures and even across neurotypes. And you can even now we're looking at autistic people as having a distinct culture of their own, and so it's good to be able to communicate with those types of people. That's what I spoke about at Yale, how to bridge communication gaps. And the group at Yale, Cultural Autism Studies at Yale, run by Dr. Dawn Prince and Professor Zhao. Dr. Dawn Prince worked closely with Jane Goodall, amazing woman. Professor Joe is real great too. Let's move on. Yeah, some of the people who endorse me. Yeah, my buddy Bob Berg wrote the Go Giver series. He sold 1.2 million books. Go Giver translated into 32 languages. Great endorsement from him. That's when I went down to see him in Florida there. Yeah, that was, I read his books, like, was it 2014, 2015? And best one I read was The Go Giver Influencer. That's the one you want to buy if you want to understand how to make your opinions matter to people. And it's all counterintuitive. I'll sum it up. I'll sum it up how you can have influence over any person. They need to know that they actually matter to you. They need to know that you actually respect them and care about them and have their best interests at heart. And then influence is built slowly over time as you build that like, know, and trust. And, you can't really rush proper influence. And the more influence you have over someone, the more they trust you, the more persuasive your ideas are. We go into a lot more of that stuff in the Friend Magnet Framework, so look that up. As my buddy David Siegel, yeah, David picked me to give a speech at the Meetup 20th anniversary party to represent all the hundreds of thousands of organizers around the world. So I flew to New York. That terrified me going to New York the first time, but my brother said, don't be 85, look back in your life and wonder what could have been. My mom had just died, so I was a wreck, but I went to New York. I quote unquote conquered New York, conquered my fear in New York City. Didn't get lost that many times. Had a buddy rescue me, but was a great experience. Giving a speech on top of the skyscraper in New York. And President Joe Biden sent me a letter of appreciation for my volunteer service. Just extending his heartfelt appreciation for my volunteer leadership. So let's get into the meat of this. This wasn't in the article I wrote. Let me get a drink here a minute. So this is the key leadership thing that I love to teach. I taught this at Yale in front of the Cultural Autism Studies unit. And I put this in about every presentation that I give here. It's called the no-fail formula. It's how to turn every mistake, every failure into a win. And once you learn this, once you implement this, it just changes your mind and it flips how you see everything in life. Now, when I make a mistake, I don't beat myself up near as long. My mind used to ruminate in all the mistakes I made, all the times I failed. But then, meeting more and more business people, failure and testing is just a process. All business is kind of testing. Like, you never know what's going to happen when you make a decision. You can have a good idea based upon studies and science and everything like that, but until you do something in the real world, you don't know what'll happen. When you start out doing something, you're awful at it. So you got to push through being awful until you get good. And, may take 100 times doing something, may take 1,000 times doing something. But, the more you practice, the better you get. So we faced I faced a leadership crisis in International Friend Connection 2023. Had a great organizer, Dale. He was retired leadership at IBM and I think Intel too. I was beating myself up real bad. I had the tendency to do that, not so much anymore. And he shared with me something. He's like, I want to have a talk with you. Dale's a real great guy. Now they run global friendship community. They do virtual events, several times a week. I think they go like Wednesday. I stopped doing virtual. I would love to pick that back up. But we need to secure more funding for International Friend Connection in the future so we can expand. So that's what I'm working on right now. But they do global friendship community, does events. Let's see, Wednesday nights through Sunday nights. And then they have Monday and Tuesday off. So you're always welcome. Join my Tuesday live streams. I may put up an event on a Tuesday night. So we can all have a chat and chat with the volunteers. But anyhow, we faced a crisis. This is the no-fail formula. So Jail shared something with me and then from that, I created a systematic approach to learning from setbacks that transforms failure into fuel of growth. So instead of feeling beat up by all the challenges, learn to mine them for wisdom. And this framework applies to about everything in life. Of course, there's exceptions to every rule. Rules aren't black and white. That's one thing I had to learn too, being an autistic person with a condition that used to be called Asperger's, and software developer and into science, mine's very logically oriented, black and white. I could not understand gray areas. So if a rule didn't apply to everything, then I thought it was invalid. But a lot of rules, it's very gray areas, and how you navigate gray areas is with experience. So here's the no fail formula. Whenever you attempt something, everybody knows what it's like to win. Whatever you attempt goes right. You celebrate and acknowledge the success, no matter how small. That's essential in order to cement that success in your mind, because things that hurt us, we remember more than the things that are positive. And I go over that in the Friendmatic classes, but you should always celebrate every win, no matter how small, even if that's just getting out of bed in the morning if you're real depressed. Everybody knows what a lose is. And that's when you mess up, make a mistake. And but here's the thing what Dale taught me, and I'm going to teach you how to do this too. So he taught me about the learn. So he said what we do is we examine what went on, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. Some things I learned from my military friends in military leadership. He said, if you learn from what went on, you're not starting over from nothing. You're starting over with that experience. It's just like gaining experience points in a video game to level up your character. That's one of the best analogies I can give. So this is essential. So, okay, you do something like, let's say you're hosting an event for us. After every event, you need to do this, or even attempting something small like a new conversation with someone if you're improving your communication skills. And I say communication skills because effective communication is a skill that very few people know, but just about anyone can learn if they put their mind to it and they have instruction and training. So this is called the after action report. After everything you do an after action report. If you want to write it down, if you want to do it in your head. So here are the things that you're going to think about. What went right in that situation? What went wrong? What could we control? What could we not control? And then what we can learn from this situation. And, give a shout out to my friends that was in military leadership, Dennis LaRue, great coach and consultant now, and Tanya Tyler. She's just run some meetup groups, a real great woman, both in military leadership. And so after you do everything, do one of these reports and see if you can win, see if you can learn from the situation. And sometimes I've gotten this question in the past, like, what if there's nothing to learn? Well, in that instance, what you learn is that some things are just down to luck and randomness. And that's good to learn too. You didn't do anything wrong because you can do everything right. And a random chance can just make it not happen. That's why you test stuff over and over again. And if something works more times than not, you're noticing a trend. So that's the basic of the no-fail formula. Do something, do anything, do your after-action report, and then see what you can learn from it. Now, what this framework does is all your mistakes, instead of sitting there in shame, like I would always beat myself up for every mistake. Brain's very fast, so it beats myself up very fast. So setbacks become data points that accelerates your learning and growth. You release a lot of perfectionism. I was very perfectionistic all growing up. Part of that was learned. Part of that, I think, is being autistic. And this formula really helps you embrace that growth mindset to help yourself progress from all those mistakes. And then it helps you pivot in the future. These after action reports will say, okay, next time we do this, how do we need to pivot? Because everything in life is just experimentation and testing. And there's like what I've found is life is a lot of dang failures with the occasional win that makes it worth living. I heard somebody say that about business too. Was it Alex Hormozy? You watch him sometimes. He may be a bit too much hustle culture for me, but he's a great guy, accomplished some great things. Yeah, he said business is mostly making mistakes was the occasional win that makes it worth doing. And I thought about, life's kind of like that too. But yeah, so what this does, it lets you pivot on purpose instead of from exhaustion and getting wearing out. You're pivoting intentionally rather than just doing the same thing over and over, hitting your head against the wall, not learning from it. So I want to go a little bit about choosing in-person venues. Um, you want to really, you got to know your target market, who your meetup group's about. Our in-person groups, and yeah, now even our virtual groups that we've done. Um, I started out with a group for nerds. Then I realized what my passion is, helping socially anxious people like me overcome their social anxiety. So, A, we have to give people a safe place to practice. Two, B, we have to give people instruction. That's a friend magnet framework classes if they want to. And, uh, and then the third thing is, I refer people out to the website Psychology Today to find a trauma therapist. If you've had like a lot of bullying in past, if you had a lot of trauma, I've had great luck with internal family systems therapy for trauma. I teach acceptance commitment therapy principles, and I know a lot of people have good luck with EMDR too. Um, but choosing an in-person venue for us, you need to really do research on your target market, what those people are like. And, actually, guy I know, Joel Irway, very famous marketer. He taught Russell Brunson a lot of stuff, but he had a new class a while back. Great class. I think it's $95. He teaches you how to use AI agents to do research. So that would be super helpful. So here's when picking a venue, here's what I look for. I look for something quiet. I'll go over some more of this stuff in a little bit, but I look for something kind of quiet. And we have a great bookstore by Schuler Books. If we don't have too many people, we can all sit by the cafe. If we got a lot of people and they're not buying food and drink, then we send to the back. Usually we have some people that buy some books too, so they're very happy to work with us. We give them good publicity too. I put them on the news quite a bit. So I like quieter coffee shops or bars. We actually have a great bar organizer, Michelle, who does board games on Tuesdays. I forgot to mention Michelle. I've given her a couple awards. Organizer Vicky have given an award this year. Couldn't give her one from the President of the United States, but we got a nice glass award for her. But yeah, so organizer Michelle, we have this. Brian owns a great board game bar called House Rules Lounge. It's not too overly loud. You go there, you play some board games. You can get a drink or a soda. They got food now, a new kitchen. They expanded. That's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Make sure you check them out. Yeah, people love going there. Parking, well, no, they made a new lot across the street. That's like $1 per hour. So it's reasonable to park around there now. But yeah, a good thing is poll your members, like ask your members when they come to your events, what kind of activities they enjoy or what kind of venues they'd like to visit. And again, I can't stress enough, know your target market, create an avatar, look that concept up in marketing, create an avatar. You can use AI to kind of create that too. Again, Irway teaches a lot of that stuff, Joel Irway. Now, as far as online platforms, you got to know your audience and what they use the most. We use Zoom because everybody knows Zoom, and all our organizers would use Zoom for our platforms. Now I'm using YouTube for these live streams because I'll tell you about Zoom bombers in the future, but this way I don't have to deal with any of those. Um, but yeah, it's cool. In the future, we'll use the online events. How I foresee it, and we were doing this for a while until I got too busy building a business to support the organization. And next year, we're figuring out how to partner with a nonprofit and raise money. So I'm real busy doing all that. But how I foresee our virtual events, and we'll pick them up in the future, it's going to be a stepping stone for the people that are too socially anxious to come to an in-person event. They join our virtual event, get used to practice speaking on camera. Oh, there was a great guy. He was from Traverse City. I don't know if I have permission to get out his name, but he joined and he could not come on camera and speak. And then just after like a month or two, we'd play this game Table Topics where I just ask people questions. They take turn answering. After a couple months, he would be able to come on camera. He answered every single question, no hesitation. So very proud of that guy, and hope he views this and hears the praise. But yeah, you want to make sure your platform can handle the expected attendance numbers. Zoom has several packages, and if a younger crowd, you may want to use Discord. But Discord comes with a lot of headaches, a lot of moderation, so you need a lot of volunteer moderators. requires a lot of manpower to moderate. Um, so yeah, that's one reason why we stick to Zoom. If you're doing a webinar, need something interactive, pick the right platform. Zoom's for me. A lot of people will use Teams or Google Meet. Now, here's the thing. After people come to the event, best practices, I'm going to go over another class on how to increase turnout. Um, I've sent new people a thank you message on Meetup because our main platform is Meetup. I love Meetup. Been using them since 2014. Been a Meetup mentor since 2022, helping organizers. Um, so I would send a new message to all new attendees, and I'd thank them for coming. People appreciated that and increase the likelihood that wouldn't they would come back. Now, if people no show, you run meetup events, you got to expect no shows. Anywhere from like 25 to 50% no shows. Our shy people group before COVID, we would have like 50% no shows, easy. Our group for nerds would have at least 80% people come, so 20% no shows. And then post COVID, though, we get more people than sign up because those Wednesday Schuler events, I advertise in different areas. And I'm going to talk about that, how you can get free advertising for your group in another lecture. So my friend Coach Steele, I got to give this to another mentor, Coach Steele, who's like a big sister I never had. What she does if somebody doesn't show up, she kind of sends a message of concern, like, "Hey, we know she didn't show up. We're kind of worried about you, and we're hoping is everything okay? And we're hoping to see you in the future." That's a little trick. Um, yeah, like I said, use the no fail formula after every event. Here's some things that you can review. Um, your RSVPs, attendance, gather feedback. You can send surveys, but on the Meetup platform, very hard. Seems like it's very hard for to get people to fill out a survey. If you have Meetup Pro, you can collect those email addresses, send the survey to their email address, and they may be more likely. You can collect those email addresses and plug it into your Meetup software, whether that's MailChimp or Go High Level or System.io or any of the platforms to run an email list. And then, you just make adjustments over time. So yeah, again, use that no fail formula. Never see anything that goes bad as a failure. It's always something you can learn from. If you have a jerk come to an event, that's good practice for dealing with jerks because you run meetup groups, you're going to deal with jerks. About every group has about one jerk a year that shows up that we have to eventually tell not to come back. And we'll get into dealing with problem members in the future. So yeah, always see your mistakes as learning opportunities. Um, Practice not beating yourself up. So I use a lot of acceptance commitment therapy techniques. When the old brain starts beating me up, I'll intercept those thoughts and I'll say, "Hey, let's just set those aside because those thoughts beating myself is not helpful. Let's instead run the no fail formula and do the after action report instead of beating ourselves up." And that takes practice. That takes practice too. Everything takes practice. Here's some of the standards for our in-person events for shy people. We kind of select quiet venues. We've tried like loud bars and stuff, and maybe for other groups that might be appropriate. But our members don't like screaming at each other over a bar table. Yeah, one thing I tell people. Oh, there's something else I got to tell you guys, but I forgot right now. But yeah, do not do any venues where you have to prepay unless you've already pre-sold the event. In that we generally don't do paid events. We never really found any way to make money from them and Meetup. So yeah, we only do events at free places. We tell a venue that, hey, we're going to bring you all kind of customers. If they want to charge us to bring them customers, then give them publicity and send them out to tens of thousands of people. I'm like, well, you can find somebody else to work with. We give you all this publicity for free, so we aren't going to pay for a place for our members to show up and purchase things from you. Because we pay a lot of money to keep these group going. Each group is quite a bit of money per year just to keep going, and then you have a lot of other expenses involved in running groups. Generally for our events that don't have a set limit, um, like my book, the event at Schuler's Books for Shy People and Neurodivergent People. Basically, an unlimited amount of people can show up, and they're happy as long as they get enough sales. So I don't cap that. And if you're a new organizer, I say do the same event over and over again, because I love to see how our new organizers grow. A lot of our new organizers have social anxiety themselves. So here's what I say to them. You pick one place. You do that every week or every other week. Every week is better, because the only thing we're concerned about right now, we're not concerned about how many people attend. I want your nervous system, you show up, your nervous system to go from here down to here. And as you're more relaxed at that venue and that venue becomes safe in your brain, then we worry about maybe switching it up a bit. But, a lot of autistic people that come, they love the same event over and over again. It makes them feel safe, makes them feel secure. But, a lot of people, like other neurodivergent people with ADHD, they want to do different stuff all the time. So eventually you can change that, but depending on how you are, if you're someone that likes to do different stuff all the time, by all means go ahead. But East Michigan does Sweetwater's every week, in Matari Coffee Shop every week in Canton. Well, they do a Panera Bread too in Canton. Becky does that, and Vicky does Sweetwater's. And but yeah, nothing wrong with doing the same event over and over. Um, Now, here's our policy. I thank Stephanie for this policy, and it's common across all meetup organizers. So, like, we do an annual event for Christmas and holidays. Is always at this restaurant, Sushi Kuni. They changed to a Korean restaurant, so we're going to try that. But okay, so I've got 12 people, and then there'll be a waiting list. So I tell the restaurant 12 people are going to show up, and there's a waiting list. So 12 people have to show up. Now, if less than 12 people show up, the restaurant gets mad because they're like, oh, we reserved 12 seats for you. Why are you only taking 9? Or there's other people on that waiting list, that are disappointed who couldn't come because somebody didn't update their RSVP. So we give you 3 strikes on that. If you're 3 no-shows for when we made a reservation, once you can excuse as like a health issue or you forgot. But 3 times, man, that's a pattern. You cannot come to, you either are banned from any events that we have to make a reservation, or you may be removed from the group altogether. Now, that can be a gray area too, because, I've had chronic migraine all my life, and, all my life, had to cancel a lot of dates last minute, have to cancel events last minute due to a splitting migraine. Thank God for all these new treatments, these new migraine meds that they have in the migraine treatments. Otherwise, I wouldn't be living the great life I have now. But yeah, an uncapped events, expect a no-show rate, maybe up to 50% if you're dealing with people with social anxiety. But, after COVID, people seem to want to get out more. And then, anytime our volunteers need support, we got our WhatsApp group. You put any questions in the WhatsApp group, you get me and you get seasoned organizers. A lot of times I don't even need to step in because, the organizers that have been doing this for years, they've learned a lot of lessons too, can share that. So this is just some of our standards. There's a couple things. There's a couple other things I wanted to say, but I can't think of them right now. And, you got to give a community at least 6 months to take off before you know if it's going to work. And that's doing an event per week or every other week at minimum. You want to do it consistently because people want to see the same people. And usually our events are about half people that come every time and half new people. Some don't come back. I always put in the event description, be a regular, because that's the key. A lot of people, especially that are social anxiety, they expect instant success. Like, I'm going to go once. Social anxiety is going to be better. I'm going to make 10 friends. And that don't happen. First of all, you got to get used to being around people. So you got to come. Maybe you don't talk to people the first time. But, oh, yeah, here's something I wanted to say. So with our group for social anxiety, have this situation come up. Like me, no secret, I'm a middle-aged guy. So if I have a young woman show up probably who is real nervous. We know she's showing up, or we're not sure if she's showing up. Worst thing I can do if she's sitting by herself is for me to go over and talk to her. So I have a lot of great younger organizers in their 20s that help out. They help host. I send one of them over there to talk to her and make her welcome. And we got this great woman who shows to some of our groups. She's the best at talking to new people. If it's a young guy, I'll talk to him because you have some cute young girl in her 20s, go talk to him, and he'll probably be so nervous he won't come back. Or at least I might not have been, or I don't know, maybe that would have made me come back. But yeah, it's again, a lot of this stuff is gray areas, but and I'm going to go over some of the keys coming up here, what I've learned from people. You want to create space to make people are going to be happy if they make some real connections and have some positive interactions. They make some friends. If you're hosting events to teach stuff, if they learn something new, that's a way to give them a lot of value too. But yeah, you got to host consistently. People need to know you're reliable. If you host once and then you don't host for 2 months, and then maybe you host a couple of events and then you take a few month break, yeah, community's not going to work out. And it's all testing. I mean, you may have done the market research, you may have did the venue research, and you've tested this for a few months. You're doing the same event and it doesn't work out. Might be time to pivot. But you don't know what's going to work before you test. Like business, community organizing, everything is testing. And John Maxwell, I know a lot of people went through Maxwell leadership program. One of his leadership books, he states the law of the lid. Your organization's size is limited by your leadership abilities. Your technical skills, and like the platform, is kind of the least important thing. Your leadership skills is what's going to keep bringing people back, going to keep your group growing. One of the greatest things is to get a good mentor. I remember David Siegel, former CEO of Meetup. We did a talk about his book, Decide and Conquer. I learned a lot in that book about history of Meetup, some leadership things. He talked about the importance of mentorship, and a lot of people don't realize that you can get kind of mentors everywhere. A lot of people are jealous of successful people, want to take them down. And the rarest thing is to find someone successful, is to be very hungry for knowledge and say, how did you do that? Or how can I be like you? That's one of the most powerful questions you ask. And even very successful people, you'd be surprised, they may be opening to mentor you. I've gotten mentored by some great people like Bob Berg and David Siegel, and I've gotten a ton of great mentorship. And then I've gotten a lot more mentors too. Sometimes it's hard to pick who I can ask a question to, because it's such a rarity for people to come to them and say, how can I be like you? Or can you teach me what you teach? And you've got to be persistent. Keep that community going for 6 months before you make a decision. 6 months preferably. Keep adjusting, keep learning, use the no-fail formula, and it'll usually work out. Now, before, just some things to keep in mind as we're wrapping up the main presentation here. Before, focus on members, select the venue and platform, communicate frequently. You really can't over communicate with your members. The more communications I send, oh yeah, here's a trick for communications. 2 days before the event, I always send a personal reminder email. Meetup has this optional email list, and I'll teach you how to use it in a future event there, or a future lecture that we do about improving turnouts. But I send a personal email from my Gmail to that optional list, and people like seeing those personal emails. And one thing I never remove anyone from my group or email list unless they've caused problems, because we had a great woman show up this year, and she hadn't been out making friends for 7 years, but she said, I got your emails. I seen your face every week because you send those reminder emails, and I like seeing that picture. I like seeing that smile in person, wanting me to come. And after 2 years, she finally showed up. You know what happened? everybody liked her, and she was a blast to be around. And she confided in me. She said, "Oh, I didn't think anybody would like me." And I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of crazy, man. Everybody likes you." And she's been coming months, and everybody has a fun time when she's around. Yeah. Okay. You've got to you. I'll tell you about something called the instant connection formula. So one thing I learned from Bob Berg, and as he mentored me in the Go Giver community, I would show up every week for 2 years, learn so many mind blowing things about communication. The way neurotypical people communicate, very different from autistic people. So I wanted to learn how to bridge communication gaps. And first, it started out like masking. Then I figured out how to bridge communication gaps without masking. And what I learned, ineffective communication involves masking and pretending. Effective communication let me be fully myself, but just change some of the things I was doing. And it was less, having to mask was so exhausting. But once I learned how to communicate effectively, there was less masking. And actually, pretty soon I got to where I'm excited who I'm going to meet every week. But I'll teach you instant connection formula. Uh, Look in the friend magnet classes for an expanded version. Instant connection formula is just a warm greeting, like a smile, say, "Hey, great to see you. Thanks so much for coming tonight. Very grateful for you coming tonight." And then Bob taught me the question, the concept, feel good questions. That's trademark Bob Berg. Now, feel good questions. He gave us a list of business networking questions to use in business networking. I created my own list of questions to ask people that come so I can find out about them. So so usually I'll ask them what they've been doing for fun lately. I get people talking about something that they enjoy. I see that smile on their face. I see the eyes get bigger. Um, then I know I'm on the right track. I do some active listening. I have ADHD, so the active listening tool, paraphrasing, very useful. So I'll use paraphrasing, kind of make a statement about what they said to sum it up. They know I'm showing them kindness by listening to them, and I'm finding things out about them too. Another question I'll use, if this works with autistic people, what have you found interesting lately? Get them to info dump on something that they're really interested in. You'll find their special interest. Usually now, they'll go on, and I've did this in the past. I get excited. I go on, which is why I'm good at giving these lectures. But here's one way you can intercept that info dumping in a kind manner. You can say something like, "Let me see if I got this right," and then paraphrase something that they said, and then thank them for coming tonight if they've been talking for like 5 minutes. And if you're the host, you gotta greet like everybody, especially all new people. Say, "Oh, thanks so much for sharing with me. I've got to get around to the other new people, so let's catch up later." And then the third question is do you have anything you're looking forward to? Like if they haven't been doing anything fun lately, then ask if they're anything, have anything they're looking forward to. Sometimes you get nothing out of a person because they're so dang nervous. But yeah, so that's essentially the instant connection formula. Smile, a nice greeting, like "great to see you." Ask a feel good question, like "what have you been doing for fun lately?" Actively listen to them. Use active listening tools. Do some paraphrasing if that works great for ADHD people. Then part of active listening is asking follow-up questions. Shows you're interested in someone. Goes along with that formula I talk about. Caring plus communication equals connection, or respect plus communication equals connection. That's the keys to human connection right there, is being interested in other people. A lot of times, now I'm going into friend magnet territory. You need to watch those classes too if you want to be a leader. But yeah, uh, basically the secret to human connection is talking about yourself as little as possible, and being interested in other people, being excited to see other people, and exchanging those positive emotions. When you're excited to see someone, excited to be someplace, you send those vibes out, those emotions out to somebody else. And when you're interested in them, they'll reflect those back at you. And it's a circle that happens between you, and you'll get feeling better and better, and they'll get feeling better and better. And everybody's just feeling amazing by the end of the night. We want to exchange those positive feelings with someone. And, after, thank the attendees, evaluate everything, maintain consistency. And, that's a lot of the keys to leadership is just making people feel good. If you can appreciate people and make people feel good and be interested in people, like that's most of leadership right there. That's such a rare skill to have that people will follow you and people will listen to you. And if you can do that, I mean, core principles. Always prioritize your members first. You're here to serve. Meetup is less about like you and what you want, and you're here to serve the members, give them what they want. But look at our boundaries class in the Friend Magnet series, because we got to have healthy boundaries. You can't let members walk all over you. If you got someone causing trouble, you can't be a people pleaser. I was a people pleaser for a long time, about putting me into burnout. It wasn't leadership that put me into burnout. It was people pleasing. And I talk about that in the Friend Magnet series. You want to facilitate those genuine connections. So here's where I bring the instant connection formula. I met someone new. I listened to what they're interested, and then, hey, now I know who to introduce them to when they're ready. Some people may just be there to sit around people for their first time, and that's fine too. We don't force anyone to talk that doesn't want to talk. But I give you an example of what happened the other night. Yeah, new woman showed up, real young woman. She's about 20. Got talking to her. She likes crafts. And so next week, another woman shows up, loves rocks and gemstones and things like that. And turns out she likes crafts too. So I'm like, hey, can you talk to this new woman for me? Because she likes crafts too. So pretty soon they're talking for like a half hour, and then they go and look at all the craft books, buy some books in the bookstore, and they made a great friend that night. And that's the kind of connections you want. If it's a business event, look for people that are in compatible businesses, introduce them to each other, and then, use that no fail formula. Um, and then fill up your event calendar. At least do 2 events per month, once a week at least. And pretty soon, you can recruit some people to help you out. Oh yeah. So here's the secret that you won't get anywhere else. If you're a dude, what happened was, one year when I got started, I had a great organizer, Mariella, and she would do all kind of cool events. And then, I noticed with the female hosts, they would always get a much bigger turnout. First, I took this personally, but then I talked with other male organizers and female organizers, and the male organizers always got less turnout than the having the female hosts. So that's just a fact, the way reality works. Old me would have been mad at that, but, new me says, reality is what reality is. So I recruit women as hosts, and more people are likely to show up, especially more women show up. Can double turnout in some things. And this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. So I think, yeah, that's it. What I have for you tonight. Let me go back to the live. If we got anyone joining for the Q&A, I can take some questions here. I'll stay on a couple more minutes for that. Just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Hopefully I gave you a lot of useful stuff. To sum it up, leadership is all about feelings. You make people feel good. They become loyal to you. You appreciate people. They become loyal to you, and they keep coming back. And then if you make the place safe, it's got to be there's a term, psychological safety. I didn't start learning that until recently, but Google did all kind of studies, and what they found was the number one factor of the highest performing teams was that they knew everybody had each other's back. And it was a psychologically safe place, that they knew the team leader had people's backs, and all the other people on the team had each other's backs. And that just increased their performance the most out of anything. And, you go through the Friend Magnet. Actually, if you want to be a psychologically safe person, go through the Friend Magnet mindset class. It will give you all the things. I'm going to check chat here, see if we got any messages. I didn't really advertise this class, so I didn't expect anyone to show up. Thanks for our organizer, Vicky, to show up for a little bit there. I just wanted to get this down for all our future volunteers. As we build more groups around the world, I'm going to share this with them. I just want to thank everybody for coming out, not seeing any events. But yeah, if you want to be a great leader, watch and implement all my friend magnet classes, implement everything in here. And we'll be back another week. I think our next topic's going to be how to increase turnouts. So you want to know, I have some very unique ways to get free advertising and some unique things I do that even the people who run Meetup don't even know about. And Meetup really isn't doing any organizer training anymore. So I'm stepping up to do the training for the new organizer. Just want to, again, so grateful for everybody that joined and everybody that's watching. Oh, I just got a private message. A great presentation. Well, thank you very much.